Welcome to Traveling Adventures, your quest for love. This show is for singles searching for the perfect lifelong partner. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video, and let us go ahead and begin, shall we? Which country do we have for today? The beautiful country of Turkey. That's right. Going upward in the world here. Now, Turkey has, similar to Morocco, which we went over before, a lot of traditional history. So we're going over, mainly for you Westerners out there primarily, the more modern Turkish people. Okay, so the men and women of Turkey, the more modern ones who are more open-minded, because the traditional ones are pretty much, let's just say, off limits. Unless you're Muslim, part of the Islam religion. Otherwise, yeah, it's pretty much off limits because, these types of Arabic countries, they take their relationships extremely seriously, but don't fret, you can always meet a more modern person from these heavily traditional countries. So with that said, kind of a little mini disclaimer, what can I say? It's necessary. So, we're going to go ahead and dive right into the good men and women of Turkey. All right, the modern men and women. Let's go ahead and get right into it, shall we? All right, we're going to start off with, in case you're new to the show, the good parts of Turkish women, and then we'll go on to the men. So, Turkish women. Marriage is a strategic, centuries-old alliance with her family. Okay, once again, this is going to be a running theme throughout many countries that we go over. Family is extremely important, okay? Once ratified, their loyalty is an unbreakable contract. Got it. Her care is a proactive logistical guardianship. She doesn't just listen, she's already solving the problem you haven't named yet. All right. So she really cares about solving problems. She possesses a specific, proud elegance that's about being impeccably put together, forcing you to upgrade your entire presentation to the world. All right. So image. In the bedroom, this is extremely important, she flips a switch. Public modesty becomes private, direct passion. She sees sex as a vital, healthy duty of marriage. And so it is. And it shouldn't feel like an obligation. Because if it feels like an obligation, your relationship is going south already. You should want to please your partner. And they should want to please you. If there's something going on that's really bad in the relationship, that's where it shines the worst. The red alarm. The shiny red alarm. Sex is the heart of any relationship. It's the ultimate bondage together. It's a spiritual experience. So there's your biggest red flag. If it's not going good in the bedroom, then something's terribly wrong. You guys better fix that. So they're very passionate. Love it. Her resilience is a flexible, enduring strength. She adapts. Adaptation is extremely important. To crisis rather than breaking. Shaped by the country's volatile history. Yes, absolutely. Strength is everything. She argues with poetic, indirect barbs and proverbs. The insult is so cultured, it takes you days to realize you've been dismantled. Okay, I don't promote arguments at all. I'm not sure what they mean here, as if it's something quite positive. We've seen this with the Greeks and the Italians and the Argentinians. They love to debate, to argue. I'm not a big fan of that. There's nothing really poetic about it. I mean, just have a conversation, for crying out loud. She's a master of reading social hierarchies. One glance tells her who holds power in a room, giving you a priceless social map. Okay, they view image as very important. What can I say? It's a cultural thing. I mean, can't really argue with that. That's their tradition. That's their culture. So, She's a master of, yeah, so social hierarchies. I mean, I wouldn't say master, but I mean, the social map, I could care less about what others think, especially if it's her family. But again, I have to emphasize you have to, this is actually not really a positive quality here. I mean, representation, I get it, but not a big fan of that either, okay? It's a cultural thing, it really is. She views regular intimacy as a pragmatic, wifely responsibility for a man's well being, approaching it with a caring, health focused mindset. All right, so intimacy, once again, it is, I wouldn't say a responsibility, but it's a must in a relationship. Otherwise, something's terribly wrong. As we said before, she carries a deep, soulful, communal melancholy from the weight of history, offering a profound emotional depth. Okay, not exactly sure what they're wanting to say there. Probably the seriousness of the relationship. She is the perfect bridge between continents, deeply traditional yet sharply modern. You get ancient soul with contemporary ambition. All right, once again, adding to the seriousness of the relationship. So they take their relationship seriously. Okay, it's a good plus. Not the most passionate that we've seen on this show, but what do you expect? I mean, we're talking about Turkey. They're very, very culturally based in a more traditional sense, far more serious, but it doesn't mean you can't find excitement with a Turkish woman. Obviously, if you find the one that can flip the switch, with the passionate bedroom, then there you go, right? Everything else is going to be taken very seriously. Doesn't mean they don't have a sense of humor, yada yada. We're talking about the modern ones. Of course they probably do, most likely. All right, shifting gear to the Turkish men. His loyalty is a bond deeper than brotherhood. He'll move mountains through his network of favors without you even asking. All right, so he's a good caretaker. His romance is epic, poetic, and all-consuming. Yes, they can be very poetic. Don't get me wrong. They love their poetry. I'm not going to say all Turkish people, okay? But I've seen some soap operas, Turkish themes, the Magnificent Century, for example. Extremely poetic. Whether or not the people are like that, you'd have to find out for yourself. But let me just tell you, it's extremely romantic when you hear it, especially in the Turkish language. Like, I've learned how to say I love you, which is sanet seviyorum, just because I was interested in how do you say it in their language, right? In Turkish. All-consuming. He makes you feel like you're the star of a grand destined love story. Yeah, there you go. It can be like that. And from the men. Maybe the women as well. He solves problems through personal influence, not procedure. His first instinct is to bypass red tape by asking, who do we know? All right, so a problem solver on the same page as the Turkish women. That's great. Sexually, his pride is tied to being a skilled, satisfying lover. He sees your pleasure as a direct reflection of his masculine duty. Yes, we've also seen this in previous shows. Extremely important. He has the pride of a master craftsman in everything he does, taking meticulous satisfaction in his role as your protector and provider. Yes, that goes hand in hand with number one. He navigates life with a philosophical shrug towards fate, focusing all his formidable energy on shielding his circle from chaos. Yet again, more protective layers here. How much of a protector can you be? Apparently a Turkish man, the good Turkish man, is a bodybuilder on steroids. A protector a bodyguard on steroids. Maybe he's a bodybuilder as well. They like to work out, so what can I say? He's physically confident, demonstrative, and takes clear initiative, viewing the sexual bond as a joyful, non-negotiable part of marriage, as it should be. Not by obligation, not by force, obviously, because that's not being a real man or a woman there. I mean, non-negotiable means, look, if the sex isn't there, there is no relationship. And a lot of stubborn people out there, very ignorant, very stubborn. They'll say, Oh, sexless marriage is okay. No, it's not. It really isn't. I don't care what you think you prefer. It's a dead relationship if there's no sex. End of story. There's nothing really to argue. That's why they're saying here non-negotiable. Because if you negotiate with such things, you're just admitting that you guys don't love each other as much as you say you do. Sex is the ultimate expression of love, true love. Not just any sex, by the way. He lives on event time. Life slows to a human pace based on the completion of moments, not the ticking of a clock. Absolutely, you gotta savor every moment. He fiercely engaged with history and politics. Okay, so that's what he's engaged with. Daily life is filled with passionate, stimulating debate about the world. Well, once again, I'm not a big fan of debate. But hey, he maintains, up with current events. Okay, that's nice. A lot of people like that. His generosity is a sacred duty. He'll spend his last coin to uphold his reputation as a provider. Yes, this has been very heavily emphasized in previous points. And this fierceness extends completely to you. Well, as it should. I would assume so. Okay, so women out there, looks like a Turkish man takes his marriage extremely serious, or his relationship if you guys aren't married yet, right? And a Turkish woman seems to be pretty modern here with the description about in the bedroom. And it seems to be that both men and women, Turkish men and women, take the relationship very seriously. Not just the men. All right. So they can be romantic. Let's go ahead and move on, as we always do, to the bad men and women of Turkey. Toxic Turkish people, shall we? But before we do, as always, ice cold disclaimer here. The following does not apply to all Turkish men and women. Got it? Get it? Good. So now that the disclaimer has been issued, let's go ahead and proceed, shall we? All right, diving into the Turkish toxic people here with the Turkish women. Her mother is the supreme authority and shadow partner. Yes, we've seen this in other strict cultures as well. She has final veto power over your life. See, this is the bad side of being when your family is far too involved in your life, in your relationship. And your wife is her loyal lieutenant. Well, that's putting it in a quite new way. It's not what you want, okay, people? Like, I respect good families, but when it comes to toxic families that are all up in your business and controlling and manipulating and playing games, no, okay? That's what we're talking about here. Okay, so her jealousy is considered proof of love. She'll monitor your phone. No, that's not proof of love. That's distrustful behavior. Test you with traps and operate on the assumption you'll cheat until proven innocent daily. Okay, this is a lack of trust. It's extremely toxic. This is toxic jealousy. A healthy jealousy is, no, I don't want to share you with anybody. You're mine, hee hee ha ha. It's in good humor, a little bit of giggles. But this is toxic form of jealousy when you don't trust your partner and you're trying to check their every move. If you're afraid to trust, you have a lot to lose, okay? Obviously, you have to know who to trust. But that's your problem, okay? You don't just assume right off the bat without a clean slate. Yeah, well, he's a guy. He's gonna... No, you don't assume things, okay? Your paranoia could destroy an otherwise what could have been a beautiful relationship thanks to your ridiculous childish paranoia. All right? Because if he's trusting you, why don't you trust him? You know what I'm saying? You never know. You could be ruining what could have been such a great, beautiful thing. And that happens, unfortunately. It's not just jealousy, it's paranoia. Your bond, you are bound by a hidden family first contract. Yes, this goes with number one. Her blood family's needs will permanently and systematically trump yours in every crisis. Right, okay, so that's just adding more fuel to the fire. After motherhood, her sexuality is often absorbed by the sacred mother role. Okay, this can be bad too. Marital intimacy can plummet, becoming a silent, reluctant duty. Okay, as we discussed before with the positive traits, okay, the importance of the bedroom, This is dangerous territory. Yes, it's extremely important to be parents. All right, maybe you guys can't have sex every day. I get it. Okay, we're all grown-ups here. But it doesn't mean you can't. And it doesn't mean you shouldn't. You can be a great mother and a great lover to your husband. You can do them both. All right? This isn't rocket science. And the man can work hard and come home and be a great lover to his wife and a great father to his children. Yes, you can actually have it all. Because in the end, that just says how powerful you are as a wife, a husband, a father, a mother, and a human being in general. How strong you are. You should have that much excitement in your life. Now, of course, there's moments where, okay, honey, maybe not today. Okay, but you better make up for it somehow, right? Well, let's go out somewhere on this day. Let's go get away from it all. Let's hire a babysitter, yada, yada. There are solutions to these issues, okay, people? Because if you allow the sex to plummet, guess what? When the children finally leave the household, you're screwed, and not in a good way. Because there's no more sexual love. You can't just pick up where you left off. You're developing bad habits. You live under the invisible, relentless jury of the neighborhood. Every choice is filtered through the paralyzing question, what will people say? Okay, so this goes with, that's why I disagreed in the beginning with, your reputation. And that's why I said I don't care what other people think. Well, apparently in this culture, you should care. They're very family-oriented, but they're also very community-oriented. All right? And that's generally how Arabic populations do. Islamic populations, they take care of your neighbors and everything. Everybody is one big family. So, I don't know if that's your forte, if that's what you like. But, the modern Turkish people, maybe they want to escape with you to another country. Or maybe out in the hills and away from the family. Who knows? It all depends. When we say modern, that means the door of opportunity is wide open. Who knows? Her financial loyalty is to her birth family's treasury. Yes, this is just going to be a never-ending... This is probably the worst list of any country we've seen so far, where the family, not your family, but her family, is going to be taking over quite a bit. A significant, non-negotiable... I don't like that. That's not where we need non-negotiable. Portion of your income is expected to flow to her parents and siblings. No. That's not how it works. I would not hide behind the word culture or tradition there, okay? Remember, we're going over the toxic parts here. She fights with silent psychological warfare, icy politeness, theatrical sighs, and subtle devastating remarks that slowly dismantle your confidence. How about dismantle the entire relationship? Jeez. She is an archivist of your failures. Yeah, okay, she's archiving everything. Past mistakes are meticulously preserved and deployed as weapons and arguments with perfect detailed recall. We've seen this in a previous show, not too common though. But nobody wants that, a person living in the past. Get over it. Otherwise your relationship is doomed, like guaranteed. She demands you be a flawless, traditional provider, but often renegotiates or rejects the traditional duties expected of her. The bargain is one-sided. Okay, that's obviously not good, okay? Talking about sexual needs is a complete taboo. Well, isn't that a killer of a relationship? I mean, now we're really going nowhere. She will endure a bad physical relationship for years in suffocating silence rather than have a shameful conversation. Well, there's nothing to be ashamed of when it comes to sex. If you're scared to talk about sex, to really get nasty with it, you're not mature, okay? I mean, true love is anything rated Disney G all the way to rated X and above, if there is an above. I mean, that's what true love is, people. If you're not mature enough for that, don't even waste another person's time. Unless they're just as mediocre as you, just as soulless. Hey, if the shoe fits, I recommend you get another pair of sneakers, but to each their own. Let's go ahead and shift gears to the toxic Turkish men. His masculinity is a performative cult. Any challenge, even a suggestion, is perceived as a devastating attack on his manhood. Okay. I don't see why, buddy. He often views cheating as a physical need separate from love. Well, of course, but not in the way you think, buddy. A forgivable vice or weakness. No, that's not the way it goes. Not a soul-shattering betrayal, but it is. It's more than soul-shattering. It's life-shattering. You pretty much just shattered any sense of honor you think you may have had, because if you're willing to cross that line because you claim it's from necessity, you're wrong. Dead wrong. That's the quickest way to destroy, a relationship, is by cheating, His primary emotional life is with his childhood friends. You and the family are his duty. His soul is poured out for hours at the cafe with his buddies. All right, well, who are you married to? Your friends or your wife, right? I mean, seriously. His pride is more valuable than stability. He'll drive the family into debt rather than take a job he sees as beneath his status. All right, so that's just irresponsible. We kind of see this before. Money is for showing off. He'll blow a wad on a flashy night out. That's a wad of money, people. To look good for friends, while basic bills become your secret problem to solve. All right, so what can I say? A bit of a gambler, just carelessly spending money here. At home, he's a king expecting service. Helping with chores isn't partnership. Oh, but it is, you idiot. It's an emasculating surrender. No, it's not. You take pride in taking care of your place, of his rightful role as the Lord. This has got to be the most disgusting thing in this category that I've seen. That's quite a way of explaining it. If you do the right thing, if you actually did your chores and help around in the house and being a real man that's not emasculating, then you will be treated like a lord. She'll treat you like a god and you'll treat her like a goddess. That's the way it's supposed to be, buddy. Sexually, his understanding can be narrow and function-focused beyond initial passion. It becomes a repetitive routine. Exploration is seen as awkward and unnecessary. But it is necessary. You guys got to be each other's fantasies. I don't care what you think you believe in. He resolves conflict by shouting you down. The goal is to dominate and win through volume and intimidation, not to find a mutual solution. Well, nobody wants that type of loser partner, do they? He's a permanent mama's boy. We've seen this before. His mother is sacred. Her advice overrules yours. Well, it's not supposed to. I don't care if you have a good mother or a bad mother. You have to make up your own mind, okay? Her needs come first, and her criticism of you is the final word. Well, that's kind of funny, isn't it? Because if you look at number one for the toxic women here, her mother is a supreme authority. So what? A mama's girl? This is the first show where we've seen a mama's boy and a mama's girl, which you don't really hear too much about, where their mothers from their birth family dominate their relationship. It's despicable. It's truly toxic. It's abusive. It really is. All right, so he sees flirting as harmless fun, not grasping the hurt in his mind. Real betrayal requires an emotional affair, making his wandering eyes your problem to tolerate. Nobody should tolerate that. What are you talking about? Wandering eyes means that you're not happy with your partner. It's that simple. There's so many problems in a relationship, but we're not going to go over all of them. We're just going to go over what we see here. All right, so pretty despicable on both sides. What can I say? Which brings us, as always, to my final verdict. What can I say? You better find a very, very modern Turkish person, either in your neck of the woods or in Turkey itself. yes, there's a possibility of finding a real free thinking Turkish person, okay? Would I recommend the country? Not to just anybody. If you're more on the serious side and you want a family, you want a great husband or a great wife, sure, you can consider Turkey, but you got to gauge your level of seriousness here because there's a lot of tradition and culture there. But if it really fits you, if that really floats your boat, then have at it. It's a beautiful country, lots to see and lots to do, but it's extremely heavy with culture and tradition, okay? I think I've really nailed that in a lot. There's nothing left to hammer here. So with that said, yes, for men out there, you can find a beautiful Turkish woman. And for women out there, a beautiful Turkish man. But please stay on the modern side. There's a very big, thick line between traditional and modern. Stay on the modern side, okay? Otherwise, trust me, you'll regret it in many ways than one. So with that said, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Also, be sure to sign up for your free membership on my website down below. Best of luck on your quest for love. Much love, everybody.